Hello, yes, that's right. It's Joe here for Joyrider TV. Today, I am very pleased to be joined by Dave, who you previously saw on the trapeze of the Hobie 16 when we were out chasing that elusive 20 knots for 1 mile. So the reason it's interesting that Dave is here is because we go way back. If we cast our minds back to 1995.
Well, if we cast our minds back to 1993, weren't we both at college together?
Yeah, so yeah, we both at Southampton Institute doing an HND, that's the Higher National Diploma in Water-Based Leisure Management. Or I don't even think it was management, water-based leisure, which is a very challenging course. Did you pass?
I passed with a distinction profile, nonetheless, Joe.
Gosh, well done.
Yeah.
I failed.
You didn't fail.
I did. I failed the what's it called? Hydrographical surveying module, which in hindsight, I would have to say it was foolish to sign up for that in the first place.
Yeah.
But also all the lessons were on a Thursday and there was a big night in Southampton on a Wednesday. Might not have made it so many of those actual lectures.
All right, well, sorry I brought that up, Joe. I didn't realise you failed.
No, but since then I've never actually gone for a job where somebody has said, have you got a diploma, higher national if possible, in water-based leisure? Nobody's asked me that, and so I think the benefit of that course was more, you know, there was good stuff that we learned, I felt. We got to meet Andy Fairclough,
Yeah.
what a treat, and the other people who were on the course.
Rob Andrews, he was a big player in my life. He was the manager of the course, wasn't he? Or the course leader.
Course leader.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Rob Andrews was the, what was it? He was the Olympic coach or Olympic team, sailing team manager.
Yeah.
At the time, and he gave me a load of tips actually back then, because I was just in the not being very good at racing the Dart 18 days, and he gave me tips. I can't remember what they were. Must have been good.
And then you went on then to work with Brian Phipps, didn't you, in Grafham Water?
Yeah. So it was Brian Phipps who wrote the Catamaran book, so he was like the godfather
Of cat sailing.
of UK catamaran sailing instruction in the UK especially. And yeah, so Rob Andrews helped me to get the kind of work experience position where I worked all day every day for 20 quid a week, living in a van, but the knowledge that I gained from working for Brian Phipps was absolutely priceless. That's what set me up for everything that followed.
Yeah, well, my work experience was out here, so
That set you up. Yeah, crikey.
So my work experience was out here for a year, and then did another season, and that was at the point where we swapped jobs.
So was that actually framed as work experience on the course?
Yeah, I sold that well, eh?
Crikey. And how did you know that this was a place to come to?
Well, there was a guy, I've forgotten his name now, and he did the season before. So someone
Working here?
Yeah, he was working here the season before. So and he was talking about it, saying, you know, what the wind was like, and I thought, yeah, I fancy a bit of that. So that's how I ended up here.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, what a place to end up.
Yeah, it was lovely, and it's really, I mean, it's quite a magical place. You know, I only worked here for 2 years, a bit less than the 28 years you were here, but for those 2 years, made friends for life, and it actually sort of shaped the foundations of my career.
So then you left the paradise of working on a beach on a Greek island, champagne sailing every day, to go and work at Grafham Water.
Yeah, I did. But as you said earlier, you know, you got a lot from working with Brian Phipps. I actually wanted to work with Brian for a while. So I worked there for 3 years. I ran the centre at Grafham, and yeah, I never looked back from that. He's a fantastic man, very, very experienced, you know, in all aspects of running a sailing school. So yeah, I was happy to do that. But this is a very, very difficult place to leave, as you well know, Joe.
Yeah, I never managed it.
No.
Yeah, I think you achieved something I never could. Yeah. From working for Fipsy, you then, how many years did you stay there?
I was there about 3 years, I think. Yeah, 3 years. And then I went to, because we were exclusively laser and dart, Laser asked me if I'd go and work on their London boat show stand, which I duly did. I spent 10 days in Earl's Court selling boats, and that was really a moment. It was quite a moment there, because I met a lot of very influential people, and that actual boat show was a turning point in my career, because I ended up working for Laser sort of fairly much straight after it.
So you went on to become, what was your position in Laser at your Laser Zenith?
So at my position, I was the managing director or CEO of Laser for 5 years. So we were based in Oxfordshire, where the manufacturer of lasers were in Banbury. That moved over to a little town called Longbuckby in Northamptonshire, and then we acquired the American division of Laser. So we moved over to Newport, Rhode Island, for about 18 months and ran.
Oh, so did you actually move to America with your family?
Yeah, we moved to America with the family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, so I did 11 years working with Laser, which was, yeah, it was enjoyable. Yeah, I left Laser and worked with RS for about a year, and then I had a decision to make whether actually to work with RS, or I'd also been asked if I wanted to be the CEO of a relatively new company that I just formed in Oman called Oman Sail. So and the family and I decided that we'd go and do a stint in Oman. So then went to be the CEO of Oman Sail for 11 years, living in
11 years.
Yeah, living in Muscat. So the kids were really sort of brought up in Muscat.
Yeah. Wow. Was that a good lifestyle?
The lifestyle was amazing. So kite surfing in the afternoons, when the wind was from the northeast, you'll generally get enough breeze to go kite surfing on the way home. And we did lots of amazing things. I mean, in terms of, I could talk all day about that, so I won't go into too much detail, but it was a socio-economic project, which is basically getting the Omanis into the sport of sailing. So we did everything from having small sailing schools, or not small, relatively large sailing schools. We have 4 sailing schools in the country, and then we also, at the higher end, we had a Mod 70, before that a 100-foot trimaran, trying to get world records with professional sailors. And then they did extreme sailing series, we hosted events, had a lot of world championships out there. And if you've not been to Oman, it is a fascinating country. And then left there to go on to be the CEO of World Sailing, which is what I'm doing now. We're responsible for the well-being of the sport sort of globally. There's 146 RYAs, so member national authorities, and the structure is, I've got a relatively small team of people, great team of staff who are mainly in London. A few live overseas, but then the wider structure is that we've got committees and commissions looking after various aspects of the sport, and then sitting above them is the board of directors and the president, which is an elected board of directors. And then the final sort of decision-making body is what we call the World Sailing Council, which each council member represent a number of national authorities.
Okay. So
we sort of we've got a racing rules committee, and they basically are refreshing the rules every 4 years. We've got an events committee, which is essentially looking after what disciplines are in the Olympic Games, how they do the qualification process for the Olympics, the Olympic Games themselves. And there's an equipment committee looking after the integrity of the sport and the integrity of the equipment. And it's we've just changed the entire governance, which is the legal backbone, if you like, of the sport. So that got voted in a few years ago, and we're just implementing that over the next 6 months. Sorry, I've
Nice,
rabbited on a bit there,
Well,
Joe.
no, we can cut some of that out. But all that has led you back to Wildwind sailing holidays right now, and you know, how many have you been back? Once or twice since you finished working here, would you say?
Yeah, we came back in 2018, and Helen and the kids say it's by far the best holiday they've ever had. And we've not been starved of decent holidays, Joe. We've had some very nice holidays, but here there's something special. Also, we've got something else in common. I met my wife in Vasiliki. Where did you meet yours?
Oh, in Vasiliki.
There you go.
Was Helen working here, or was she on holiday?
No, she was on holiday.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Yeah. And your wife?
Working here, yoga teacher.
Yoga teacher.
Yeah, yeah. You know, when you were working here, it was loose.
Well, it depends what you mean by loose. From a safety point of view, It wasn't loose.
Oh, it was still tight, safety-wise.
I don't think it's ever been loose from a safety point of view. But you know, there was five of us, and it was hard work. And I think what you've done, Joe, in your time here, I mean, we've had when you've got powerful boats in strong winds, you're going to have incidents, but the team here are just absolutely straight on it.
Yeah, one of the things that I've always been very pleased about, and what I think part of Wildwind's ethos is to have sailing with as few restrictions as possible, but still extremely safe, so people feel that they can go and push it on different boats in as much wind as they feel is possible. Did you feel that was how it was back when you worked here?
Well, I think what Simon did, that was his DNA, was, you know, wanting to get people out in the high winds. And I think what you've done now is, because back then it was just mainly 16s, and now you've got a range of good boats, you know, the Tigers, the 49er, the 800s, and yeah, the answer, generally speaking, from an instructor, what I've noticed is the instructors say yes, if someone wants to give it a go, and you make sure that they're safe. So, you know, you can take people joyriding. Romilly had a fantastic joyride with Goose earlier on in the week, which is an experience which you can't, I'm not sure there's many places in the world you can get that, where you can just feel the boat blasting across the water, then you're in a nice, safe environment. So I think you did a tremendous job.
It certainly is as unique as it ever was, I think, and it's going to continue to go on that way, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, as I said earlier, I'm really impressed with the team. I think Aaron's got a solid team, and there's a lot of depth of knowledge with the instructors.
Yeah, thanks very much for taking the time to chat, Dave. If something goes wrong, I prefer to leave it in.
Yeah, well,
because that's honest.
It's honest.
Yeah, honest sailing.
It's good for views as well, huh?
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah.
If you come to Vasiliki, you might meet James, if you're lucky. Thank you, James.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.